Uh, First off, Lady E, my apologies if I put words in your mouth. That wasn't my intention. The point of view that I was speaking from is the fact that to the point of his imagery, which you were speaking to, that tends to be the job of a publicity person in the entertainment industry. So I wasn't really directing it at you. I'm just saying that to me, none of that really matters as far as his sexuality and all of that, and as far as people jumping to conclusions and all of that. Who really cares? But a lot of people think that because you serve a bid and you serve it honorably, that you can't be zesty. And that's not true. I
And
don't
I
care.
understand that.
Yeah. And so the point that I'm making is just because if he has those attributes, to each his own. I don't care what his lifestyle is personally, but to sit there and defend it on the honor that because he serves his time and he's a real that makes no sense whatsoever. Because a lot of those people front, and y'all know it. A lot of people who's the hardest people in the world front and act like they're not zesty. So let's not just sit there and act as if that matters, that he has served a long bid or that he has come out honorably from serving his bid, because that really has nothing to do with sexuality one way or the other. If he is zesty, that's his business. Rumored, his whole crew has been rumored on that at one point or another. So why are we sitting here
Facts,
acting like we do not understand or recognize that?
facts.
And me
But what
personally, like I said, go ahead. I'm sorry.
we were speaking on what was said on a local standpoint and what happened on a national standpoint. So what the rest of the country saw was blown completely out of proportion. I didn't start hearing the zesty stuff until probably about 48 hours after he was released, when everybody saw that he was released. But at the end of the day, I feel as if, and just like I said, we spoke on Jenny Mai and Jeezy, there's certain things that should be held back and being shared from social media
He wasn't
because it can come to haunt you in the long run.
he wasn't protected at all.
Exactly. He was not protected at all.
So are his people.
And so a lot of people, and you said it yourself, that, whether his sexuality is an issue, it may not be an issue for you, but it can also hurt his career. We've seen that happen within the Black community. The sexuality affects the career.
In the past, yeah, but there's so many men who have been looking zesty, and it did not affect their career. Young Thug, zesty looking often, and still revered as a great artist and a real cat and all of those other things. So let's
Uh,
not act as if zesty in this day and age is particularly something that's going to destroy your career, because it's not. If that was the case, then a lot of people careers will be destroyed. All the people who wore dresses, all of the people who wear makeup and nail polish, and all of the other things that they do that is suspected to be
Mm,
zesty. So the point that I'm making is that we have kind of skewed our whole perception on what zesty is and what it actually means, and why are we
right.
acting like we don't?
Exactly.
I'm happy you're saying this.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
I'm so happy you're saying this. I'm happy.
It's a trigger point. It's a trigger point. Because the whole thing is like, I think like the whole internet thing has allowed us to be very personal with each other and get our points across on a personal level. Like, but in terms of like realistically, let's say not on a personal level, but I'm just saying like let's say like Lady E was trying to have a Hollywood career, right? Now, what's she about to do in that set of circumstances? Like, it could be anybody. I'm not saying Lady E in particular. I'm just saying, like what you're gonna come across is that you may have to be zesty for a minute. You may have to like just bring out them boundaries. Everything that we've seen on TV and in the movies with every type of character that we tune into, buy into, pay per view into, and subscribe to for our entertainment purposes until we get to that point. Then you are able to walk the red carpet and go, yo. You could tell me I'm as zesty as you want to tell me I'm zesty as, but I'm
But
walking this red carpet.
Simon, there's actually a larger point to all this. I think.
All right, Docky.
What's up, Simon? Hey, how's
Yeah.
everyone doing on the panel? I'm here to support Mr. Best in the World Intellectual Soapbox. I'm happy to be here. I just want to say
Thank
this.
you, Dark Lake. I appreciate you, man. I wish I had some of that sandwich, but thank you. But
Hey, I didn't eat. I know I was eating that shit like it was the last meal in the world, but I haven't eaten all day.
He's in those lakes.
So the thing about it is, right? The word zesty, right? It's just another negative stigma that's attached to black men in an inappropriate fashion by the quote unquote sisterhood, in my opinion. And the thing is that yeah, absolutely. The thing is that there's always
fucking
these,
hilarious.
well, I just want to say this. There is a negative stigma on the word zesty, and I guess men who are more feminine, right? But the thing about it is that term is associated or extrapolated in the wrong directions, right? A lot of black people in the black community think any man who's intellectual and doesn't have a vocabulary that doesn't go beyond saying the fuck and nigga every 5 seconds is zesty. Anytime you verbalize your thoughts in an educational way, there's going to be some black woman somewhere saying that's zesty.
That is the first time I've heard that.
He's feminine because he can articulate himself well and doesn't use ebonics, right? And then that's one part about it that I have an issue with. Actually, there's three. The second part is everything that's zesty can't be everything that's opposite of thug nigga sagging his pants, walking around looking like he about to fight somebody 24/7. Just because a black man doesn't purport himself in that fashion where he has to walk around looking like he's about to fuck somebody up doesn't mean he's zesty just because he's not street. That's the second thing. The third problem I have with it is the stigma, right, is not consistent and is not directed in the inverse. I'm a person who loves consistency, and it really is like a pet peeve of mine when logic isn't consistent. So if we're going to judge black men for being quote unquote zesty, right, then in the inverse, put a negative stigma and judge black women for being dykes or exuding masculine traits. So if this person being zesty, like I think it was Lady E said, could ruin his career, right, or have negative effects on his career, then the same should be said for Queen Latifah. Because you know what, she there was a time, I don't know about today, but for a long time she was presenting herself in a very mannish type of way, and it was celebrated amongst black people. It was celebrated amongst black women. So if black men have to deal with the stigma of not being completely masculine and zesty, then make sure you don't go see Queen Latifah's movies. Make sure you don't go hear her music because she's not being a woman, and there needs to be a word associated to that. So consistency in the black community is lacking in logic, and that's the issue that I have with this whole zesty argument.
So if you were paying attention from the get-go, I never said anything wrong that I was not going to not support him. I am just speaking on, and we were just speaking on him being released and what was said.
I wasn't going after.
I gave my opinion, but the fact that you're coming back with the whole sisterhood, which is not what this panel is about, first of all.
But
I just see but you know what though? I opened my mouth because someone put words in my mouth, and I feel like a whole bunch of y'all just jumped up on here and y'all were ready to fight.
What's the panel
No, I'm not.
about?
I'm not. No, I'm not going at you, Lady E.
Let's
I'm
don't
saying
let,
that the
let,
the
let, let
sisterhood
E
is the
let
sister.
E
I'm
tell
not going.
let E
Yeah,
tell
yeah, yeah,
us.
yeah. Go ahead. No, no, wait. I'm just saying that I'm not coming for you, Lady
Because
E.
I never not once said cancel BG.
No,
Cookie
no, no,
never
no, no,
said
no, no.
that either.
No. I'm not saying you said that. I'm saying that you made a point, which was I thought was a valid point, which is when a black man is exuding those quote unquote zesty qualities, it could ruin his career. You're right about that.
Exactly.
And yes, that's what I'm saying. The only thing I'm saying is that it's very selective pertaining to the sisterhood. So something like that could ruin his career. But Queen Latifah, or I don't know, what's her name?
Young MA, because
Yeah.
I
or Eve, right? They can have flourishing careers exuding masculine qualities in their art, and it's celebrated by black women in the black community. It's inconsistent logic and inconsistent judgment. That's the point that I'm making.
I
and
appreciate
then
you.
another thing that she said was, which was a first, about if a man is not speaking Ebonics, then he's feminine. That was the first I've ever heard that.
That
That
was
was
Well,
the
then
first.
yeah.
you don't know the black man's experience in the country, then, and that's fine.
Well, I'm a black man and I'm in the country, and that was something that I believe as well is not true, because there's a bunch of Ebonic speaking people who are showing characteristics of the Zesty, who are street as hell, that I just gave examples of. And so therefore it doesn't have to do with the intellectual. But to your point,
Hmm.
the women do support both sides of zesty in its entirety, whether it's a zesty woman or a zesty man. They is supported often by women. The stereotype of where it could hurt a career is not because of the women, it's because of the men. The
How
Thank
is that?
you.
men because
How is
the
that?
Thank
men because the men are the who has the stereotypes against the other men who
I
are
have no
quote
more
unquote
wine.
zesty. So, and
you.
that's a
You're not.
false sense.
You
Yeah,
don't
and that's
need
a
no more E.
and that's a
You
false
definitely
That's
sense.
don't.
full blown.
Look, it's about to be a margarita next.
But
No,
Oh
listen.
my God! Wait! You guys, can
Why?
I read the comment? Can I read Nina's comment?
Nah,
She
you
said,
got no,
You
you.
can
This
read
is
it, but
good
I'm gonna talk.
conversation.
I
she
Good
said,
conversation.
sisterhood is irrelevant. It's not celebrated. It's just not discussed. Also, black men have a higher propensity for being down low than women. This is moot, and that's actually so incorrect. That's 100% false. There are more bisexual and lesbian black women than there are black men.
why are you
Just by nature, of the numbers, women outnumber men tremendously. There can't be more down low men than there are women when women outnumber men. What are you talking about?
But the stereotype hurts who more, the man or the woman?
Because the man, because that's the direction of thought that the
And
black community
exactly,
takes.
that's what the
so
point that we're bringing about BG. Like, this can hurt him because the man, the brotherhood, like you and everybody else on this panel,
I,
people
think
I
he
was looking
loses
forward to
street
your answer.
because he's this.
is gonna lose. Exactly, and that's why I said, and I go back to, this probably should not have been put out yet.
Because I'm gonna listen
Even
to
though he
BG.
didn't put it out, I think it was his hairdresser or whatever that initially put that live video out. That could potentially hurt his career because you have exactly.
And I'm
It's
just saying that it's
real.
because of the. I'm saying you're right, but the reason why that is because of the inconsistency of logic within the black community in reference to the sisterhood. That's my
But
opinion.
no, it's not sisterhood. It's the men. We just said a couple minutes ago, not even a couple minutes ago, that women are more supportive of the butchers, the dykes, the
It is a
gays.
When it comes to the women, not the men.
Hey,
Oh,
can I say something real quick
all these
before Queen
trans
get up in here?
the
Because we
pause.
gotta hear
Hold on.
what Queen talking. Oh, go ahead, Cookie.
They ignore me, Big Rig.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Queen.
What I was gonna say was, not only do we support it, we get flack for supporting it, because when we get on other panels, it's like, oh, trans, y'all complaining about trans people now and want to be calling women and calling y'all cis women, and it's y'all's fault because y'all support them.
Me Too
No, no, no.
movement.
Those are two different
Me
things.
Too. We
Those are
have
two
been
different
we've
things.
been trashed about Me Too movement. That is a fact.
Those are two different
Don't cut
things.
me off.
No, it's
I just want to. I
not.
want.
Wait, wait,
Let
wait,
me
They
wait,
say
wait,
tie
this.
wait,
Let
them
me
wait, wait,
ask
wait,
Sean.
together.
Jamal. Wait, wait,
Let me
wait,
ask
Jamal.
Sean something
Wait, wait,
real
wait,
quick.
wait, wait,
Real
wait,
quick.
Big Rig
Now,
Clutch. Wait, Big
I'm
Rig
out.
Clutch. I'm
Bye.
so sorry. Zamal, I'm Dark Lake Revived. You might not know who I am, but don't tell me to not cut you off again. Go ahead, Big Rig Clutch.
This is her show, baby.
I'm Dark Lake Revived.
I don't care who you are.
Oh shit! Hey, check it
Somebody
out. So
that
look.
I actually
Hey,
like.
I gotta.
I support in my
That
life.
don't mean anything.
You
It
hear
don't mean
a lot
nothing
more
that
come
it's
out
her
of my
show.
mouth.
Don't tell me what to do. Go ahead.
I'm not telling
You
you
can
don't.
leave though if that's an
You
always
done
an
put me
Hold
on.
option.
on, hold on.
You done blame some shit on me in the last 10 minutes.
Exactly.
And I
I was
can't
referencing
do
Lady
nothing.
E, not you. What are you talking
How
about?
about clean your
What
camera
the
and
fuck?
come back? Do that.
Say that
Hey, so
again.
I wanted to
Do
ask.
that. I'm fixing
I
to
wanted
go
to ask Sean a
Say it
question
again.
real
I
quick.
don't want to come up.
Say it again.
I want to ask Sean. Let me derail y'all. I want to de-escalate that. Hey, so Sean, bro, I was getting what you were saying. You know what I'm saying? Just because he did his time, we didn't hear nothing whoopty whoop. You know what I mean? Don't give him all that praise like that. I get that. That's right. And that really wasn't my point. My point really was the clip, bro. I kind of was more on just the clip that everybody seen. So like, you seen the same clip I seen. You know what I'm saying? So you obviously picked up that he looked a little zesty. So my question is what did you see in that clip that made you, think that? Because maybe, like I said, maybe I missed something, bro. I just want to hear it from your perspective, what you saw in that clip that made you come to that conclusion. That's all.
The rolling of the eyes, I mean, there was a lot of little attributes that were somewhat feminine. And in the way that he presented himself. Now, again, I'm not one to really judge whether or not his sexuality. It don't really matter to me one way or the other. But the point is, who knows that could be a relief? Who y'all talk about his career? Who knows that he even is concerned about a career? He might be concerned about just being able to be free. And I
He's
mean that
already
in all
posted himself.
aspects of the word. What was that? I'm sorry.
He's already posted himself in the studio.
Yeah,
Okay,
it was
beautiful.
already said he
But
was gonna be back in the studio
but
before he even got out.
but what I'm saying is that his career, only people who saying his career is going to be, he might not feel that way. He done seen a lot of people who now he can, who reflect a lot of zesty attributes become successful. So that might not even be a concern of his. That's more of a concern of people looking at him. So we don't know where his head is.
That's on
And
y'all because guess what? Women support everybody, of
I
course.
mean, I just said that point, so I don't dispute that point. But the point is, never mind judging him. Let him come out, do his music like everybody else. Come out and do their music, and if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. And if he's zesty, he's zesty. If he ain't, he ain't. It don't.
We
Why does it matter?
So I got one more question for you, Sean. So before that video came out, you know what I'm saying, of that, that infamous hair appointment, right? Did you ever see anything zesty from that brother
Let me
beforehand?
say this. Let me say this. I never really paid attention to him like that, but since the video came out, saw before and after, and I saw some attributes
thank
that could be
you.
suspect then. Yes.
Why
Absolutely.
is
I saw some attributes that we overlooked and we didn't even
this
think about.
motherfucker?
And yes, literally today I looked at a before and after. There was somewhere he was definitely hard and it showed no reflections whatsoever. But there was some attributes that I saw that could be reflecting zestiness. Yes.
Okay, for sure, man. I could dig it, bro. I seen you in the comments, you know what I'm saying? And you was definitely like not saying what I was saying. So I had to just hear your perspective, bro. But yeah, I appreciate you coming up here on the panel, man,
Thank you.
and letting that go like that, man.
Well, I
I
came
needed
because
to
you,
hear
you
it.
you said you wanted to ask a question, so I just came up. But y'all have a great evening. Enjoy yourselves. Toast to the wines. Toast to the ladies. Toast to the men.
No, fuck.
Enjoy.
We were
Not fuck
we
them.
were saying the exact same thing Sean was saying.
Yeah, for sure.
But you need it to be validated by a whole nother man. But we got
Well,
No, I didn't.
well,
No,
well,
I didn't
Wait,
get
well,
that.
well,
wait,
Queen,
wait.
wait.
Nah,
Y'all got me fucked up.
In fairness, yeah, men usually validate each other like women usually validate each
I
other, and
just
that's
wanted
just
to
a
hear
part
his
of life.
perspective because I heard the lady's perspective. I wanted to hear his perspective as a man on what he's seen as being Zesty in that video clip. You know what I'm saying?
And let me
That's
say
all.
this before I leave. I've been in the industry for over 30 years on in and out. I've seen a lot of zesty cats who are very successful and have had accolades and people would never believe and wouldn't think and so on and so forth. And not just in music, in entertainment, in sports, in a lot of different places. And ain't nobody really persecuting them. But the point is that it's becoming more acceptable in this day and age. And whatever. I think that pause nonsense is zesty.
Yeah, I don't be
Period.
feeling that shit, bro.
Yeah,
Like I
that's
said,
a
that's
zesty
that's
What's
game.
wrong
that's
with
some
it?
different
That's
shit.
What's
You
that's
know
wrong
what
some
I'm
with
saying?
it's what's wrong with it? It's a zesty ass game. You pause. That's some zesty stuff. From where I'm from, you don't go around that tapping and pause. Yeah, if you got to validate that you're not, you suspected that you might be.
That is a little
Before we
bit
move
different, man.
forward, we do have to give Queen the floor if she's still there. Queen, where you at? Because I hadn't talked to you in like
Hey, I
maybe two
appreciate
months.
you though, Sean, for sure, man.
All
I'm
right,
right
y'all
here.
have a good
What's
one.
up?
Be safe.